today with HelpAlongYourWay.com podcast, we have Andreas Valken. So welcome, Andreas.
Hi, thank you for the invitation.
Sure. So who is Andreas Valken?
Just like anyone who can play the guitar and loves In Flames. That's not my real name, though. I use that because, it's like an artistic name, so... But yeah,
okay, so is that your musical alias?
Yeah, you can call that. I don't like to use my real name whenever I sign anything or...
I understand. So are you originally from Portugal or somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm from Portugal.
Okay. So what is your instrument of choice, your favorite instrument?
Well, definitely a steel string acoustic guitar.
Okay. Now, do you play in any bands?
I did previously. I played in 3 other bands. I have side projects as well as recording these covers. But yeah, I spend most of the time recording whenever I can because I study. I'm in college yet.
Okay, that's understandable. So the next section I call In Flames. So how did you first hear In Flames?
Oh, that would be nice to meet again a friend of mine when I was 13 years old, I guess. He was from Denmark. We met in an online game, and he introduced me to a song which was, well, curious. It was the first cover I did. It was Crawl Through Knives. And he showed me that song, In Flames. I started to hear them, mainly the soundtrack to your Escape album. I love that album. And from then I guess I never stopped listening to In Flames.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. For me, I came across a website a long time ago called SwedishMetal.net.
Mm-hmm.
And the first track I heard is actually a video I saw Only for the Week. And I heard that, and I just kept playing it over and over and over because I'd never heard of the band. I'd never heard that music. So I thought, wow, this is spectacular. So when I saw, a cover of In Flames, acoustic, I thought, wow, I got to hear it. So I heard your music, and I thought, this is really good. So I'm glad we're talking. Currently, you have 7 acoustic covers. So Come Clarity, Crawl Through Knives, My Sweet Shadow, Only for the Week, Take This Life, Through Oblivion, and Trigger. Now, do you plan to record any other In Flames covers?
I just did yesterday, I guess, or 2 days ago. I uploaded, and the most recent one was Bullet Ride. It's not quite as I would like to have it, but yeah, I think I'm losing the vocals a little in the middle because in the beginning I could do them melodically and I could fit them well in the music, but not anymore. It's kind of hard for me to come up with a good line of vocals, especially when Anders screams in music, and that's so difficult to put melodically in the covers. But yeah, I'm planning to do 2 more at least. I have so many requests. You can believe my inbox. But I guess the next 2, I'll make it to 10 at least. I promise that. I think I'll do Evil in a Closet because I have that one almost done. And Alias because someone asked me Alias a long time ago.
Right. Okay. So of all the covers you've recorded so far, which is your favorite recording?
Sound-wise, it was Take This Life. So many people loved that one when it came out too. I like the aggressiveness of the acoustic guitar in Only for the Week. It was more like an heavy guitar there, even though it's just an acoustic guitar, no distortions at all. But the one that I'd liked the most to record was My Sweet Shadow. I really enjoyed that because it was my number 1 favorite song a long time ago. And yeah, I kind of feel something about it yet.
Yeah, okay. So of the covers that you've picked so far, which is your favorite In Flames original track? Would it go back to My Sweet Shadow?
Oh, that's so hard to answer. I'm more like an album and the whole message of an album more than a single song. But that's so hard to answer. I can't pick one. I really can't.
I know they have so many good songs.
Oh, yeah.
At least as I go through their catalog and listen, I'm like, oh, that's my favorite. No, that's my favorite. And yeah. It's a hard question. So, moving on to the next one. If you were ever given the opportunity to play one acoustic track with In Flames on stage, what would it be and why?
Again, I think I would have to ask the audience because I have an opinion about my covers that some people don't have. They don't agree with me sometimes. But it's okay because most of the covers since the Take This Live were suggestions, are suggestions. Even Alias and Evil in a Closet are suggestions of other people. But live, I think I would take. They never played any of my covers live. Oh, Through Oblivion, they do. Actually, I covered that one based on an acoustic cover that they did once in Brixton, I guess. But it's hard to choose. Only for the Wicked Impossible, because that's something that puts everyone jumping live. I don't know. Come Clarity would be nice to see, even though it's music that everyone knows and it's okay. I heard that like 10,000 times, enough.
Yeah, okay. Well, that's good. Now, have you ever had the opportunity to meet the band in person?
Oh, unfortunately, no. They were here once in Oporto, in Art Club. I missed them because my car broke on the way to the Art Club, and I just couldn't believe I was missing the only opportunity to see them while I'm this age and with this conscience that I love In Flames. And, well, it's life. I'm expecting them to return any day soon.
Very good. Very good. So the next section is about the recordings. Now, do you use a metronome or timekeeper of sorts as you're playing through the songs?
Okay, I have to admit that I cheat sometimes, but I mentioned in the first videos that the first 3 covers, I guess, 4 covers, were based on other covers that were done by other people in YouTube. But the thing is, they are either recorded with a mobile phone or not so good quality equipment, and they sound different from each other. And when I started to record them all by myself, I thought, well, wouldn't that be nice to listen to these covers as if it was a CD? And so I picked them all. I mentioned the people who covered them in the first place. I mentioned them in the description. And I covered them myself. So, yeah, so it could sound like a studio approach. It's not really a studio, it's a home studio. But, yeah, so it could sound a little bit better.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. Good to know, and I'm glad you attribute, the credit to the other artists. And that's something I wish more of the music industry would have, is just giving credit to people, for all the work they've done. So good job there. Now, what type of acoustic guitar did you record with? For what brand?
It's a very cheap guitar. It was cheaper when I bought it a year ago or two. It's just a Fender TD60, a black one. It's a pretty simple guitar, a very basic guitar, but I don't record it with the jack, so it doesn't sound so metallic. I use a condenser microphone. I don't use a small condenser microphone. I use a diaphragm, a large diaphragm microphone. And the strings, I love those strings when they are new, when they sound fresh. They are awesome. They sound exactly like I captured in Only for the Week. They are super sweet. They are Martin guitars. I love those strings. But yeah, it's a pretty simple guitar, very, very cheap. Anyone can get it, I guess.
Right. Okay. Now, do you plan on collaborating or working with other guitarists? For example, there's an acoustic guitarist. He goes by the name Sing Fishy, and he records many, many Iron Maiden songs in the acoustic form. Or maybe bands like Acoustic Maiden or something like that. Are there any people like that that you would work with?
Not that I know about. I don't feel pretty lonely making these covers because I know I could only count on me. I don't know many people around me that like In Flames or whatever. But yeah, if I get an invitation from someone to record something, yeah. I mean, Iron Maiden is not really my cup of tea, but anything else, if I can hear that and say, yeah, I can do something, I would probably do. Yeah, I helped many bands in the past, so
that's good to hear. So after we wrap up this interview, I'll try to find some links to send to you for these different bands or artists. Because we know Iron Maiden is definitely a different type of band, but as you listen to the tones of the acoustic guitar and how they're played and the emotion behind it, just this weekend I heard a connection between the two types of groups I had never heard before. So I thought, that would be, for me, I like to put ideas together and see what happens. I think that would really sound good. So the next section, so aside from music, okay, so when you're not recording or playing music, you mentioned that you're in the university studying, right?
Yeah.
So what are you studying, or where do you work? What goes on in your life?
I'm studying, I don't know how you say that, the name, but it's mainly translation. That's the part that really interests me. It's translation. I'm really, I don't know, I'd rather study music production, and I'm having some directions from a friend and from a studio here, a recent studio. Then they are giving some classes, and I had the opportunity to sign in. So yeah, that's basically that. I study for 2 years now. I guess it's my last year now, so I'll be a lot more into music from now on than I was when I started, because my covers came like every 6 months, every 4 months, and that was like, okay, people like them and were expecting more. They could just sit back and wait another month or two before I could have another one. So, but yeah, if I could choose something to do forever in life, it would be music production, acoustic covers of anything. I'm just all about music. I feel like that.
Yeah, well, that's good. So that leads me to the next question, but you've already answered that. So what do you enjoy most in life? And so basically what I understand is just music in general, anything and everything music related. Okay?
Yeah.
So what do you fear the most, or what scares you the most?
That's an hard question, because I don't think, I'm not brave like, here I am, but I don't think I fear anything now, but I know that I fear that I end up maybe alone, not recognized. I mean, people are free to choose whether they like my covers and what I do or not, but to see everyone around me, those who like me for a long time, to just stay back while they watch me do something, and not having people around me, that concerns me a lot in the future.
Yeah.
But, everyone has their fears. I don't think anyone wants to be alone, so that's pretty generic.
Yes, but it's a truthful answer, and I appreciate that. So, and it seems by the cover songs that you've recorded that you connect very well through emotion. So, do you also connect to people through other types of ways? Maybe it's reasoning and logic, or a faith, or a spiritual sense, or anything like that?
I'm not very spiritual. I don't believe in any kind of religion, but that's not up to discussion here. But yeah, I end up sometimes nagging people about why did you do that, what was the reason behind that, and so on. I think that's something that's behind me and what I do, even though I don't want to send that to the other side. That ends up on the microphone as well, especially when I try to pick up a scream from Anders, someone I don't know personally. I don't know his taste. I don't know anything about him. and I try to translate that into something more melodic and acoustic format, and people end up liking it. I mean, that's something I have to be proud of, at least.
Yes, it is. It is. So, if today were your last day to live, would you do anything differently?
Would I do today something differently, or would I have done something differently in the past?
Would you do something differently today?
No, I have to be honest. I never gave an interview about anything in my life, so this is a lifetime experience for me. It's the first time, so I guess I would talk to you anyway.
Very good. Portugal. We know there's a very rich history there of kings and monarchs and various things, and colonialism, and a lot of good things and a lot of not so good things, kind of like the U.S. So what is the best thing, whether it's the people or the food or the climate, what is the absolute best thing, in your opinion, that Portugal has to offer?
That's not something that I can answer easily, because if I turn to a tourist and say, oh, go visit this and watch this, photograph this, hear some music made by this artist, this Portuguese artist, you won't just understand what it is to live. I like Portugal. I just don't like who runs Portugal. I don't like our ministers. I don't like our politics. I totally hate people who just end up screwing us all the time and making our country look poor. It's not poor. It has a huge tradition. Some people sometimes misjudge Portugal, and we are in a difficult situation right now. It's true, but I like people who I live with. I like our traditions. I like our food. I love our food, and I just don't like who represents our country in the outside, our ministers, whatever. I don't like that. That's the only thing I have to say about my country negatively.
That's very similar to what I would say about the U.S., I think, in various parts, because I'm actually specifically from Texas. So Texas has many of us here have a different outlook about our country, because at one point in time, Texas used to be its own country. So there's still a lot of pride in that historical culture and things like that. And also, I can agree with you on the politicians and the people representing, not necessarily the state, some of the state, but the country. I don't like a lot of the decisions they make, and sometimes they're just, I don't know, they don't seem to pay attention to what the people really want or need. But I guess that's how life works. So, all that to say, I want to thank you very much for your time.